Guys, I'm feeling a bit sorrowful because of all the abundance we've been sharing together through this project of Backyard Abundance, and things are kind of wrapping up. And the crazy thing is, it's like the plants haven't really wrapped up. The weather is still incredibly agreeable, but I feel like we're coming to the end and we're having to shift because very soon in the next week or two, the weather where I live on the west coast of Canada is going to shift. It's going to get colder. It's just on the verge of freezing at night now, though it's very warm during the day. And heavy rains are going to come for weeks at a time. And so I've got to have everything dialed in and ready for that. Wherever you are, you'll want to know what it is you need to do to get ready. But it's pretty common that when it gets winter, the daylight hours are fewer, the moisture level goes up, there's a lot less heat units coming at your garden. So if you went right back, as I have looking at my calendar, to when I started this whole project and we planted seeds and starts, we're today at day 112. So it's been 112 days since we started, and I just came out in the garden this morning here in this garden. I picked the final green beans off the bush beans. I got the last couple peppers, and everything else in the bowl here is tomatoes. There's a whole lot of tomatoes, and then the peppers and the beans. So that's where we're sitting at day 112. I would say the one summary thought that I want to leave with people, and I'm going to say it in this video, and if there's, I think, one or two more videos that'll come after this as we wrap up this season of Backyard Abundance, is mind-blowing. Just mind-blowing when on such a micro scale, doing a garden that's just 3 small beds, the equivalent of space that would be 2 parking spots, or maybe a tiny front yard of a condo or a townhouse property. We've come up with food for several months on a daily basis. Healthy greens, tomatoes, cucumbers, melons, onions, potatoes, all sorts of flavorful herbs. And it's come out of a tiny footprint that's less than 1% of an acre. I've been growing food for probably close to 30 years on a fairly almost daily basis, involved with the soil and growing things. I've never tried something so small scale before, so I don't think I've really stepped into and leaned into small micro gardening before. I've always had quite a bit of soil to access, quite a bit of land, 100-foot drip lines, big gardens. And here I've done this experiment with this tiny little Backyard Abundance project. Mind-blowing. So much food. I'm so excited about this that I think this is the next step I'm going to go, is rather than having bigger gardens and more gardens, I'm just going to have these tiny little compact beds that are purposely raised so there's lots of healthy soil that really retains the moisture, make sure I'm covering all the soil to keep the weeds down, and the results is so little work and so much output. So now I'm just going to go through the original planting plan that we started out with and show you how and where we edited along the way, and we'll just kind of recap the season here at day 112 to just talk about this mind-blowing Backyard Abundance that comes from such a micro garden that gives so much, okay? So that's what we're going to step into on the next clip. So continuing on with our little updates at this point. Do you remember this planting plan that we used? We have all 3 of the beds, everything that was originally planned, and for the most part we stuck with the script, but as always with nature there's a few hiccups. So I'm just going to come in quite close to the cameras that you can see everything and just show you what we're noticing here. And I'm just going to look for now in front of this bed. I'm just going to drop this for a second. In front of this bed that has beets and tomatoes and pole beans, and it had sunflowers behind. We're just going to talk about this bed for now and talk a little bit about the edits that came along. Then we'll go bed by bed through the others, and then we'll finish up with the weeds, pests, water, and seeds content as well. So this is what we planned, right? Radish and peppers, tomatoes and beets, and pole beans with a cucumber plant on the end, and just 2 drip lines that are the black dotted lines. Well, what didn't work? Pretty much everything worked amazing. The one thing that didn't work is I used quite old radish seeds, and so that failed, I would say. We just put some marigolds, some beautiful flowers in there that attract pollinators and repel pests. I realized there was some opportunity to plant some sunflowers. I didn't take out the pole beans, I just planted sunflower behind the pole beans. And we're gonna have about 20-30 more days of tomato harvesting, and then this whole bed is gonna be done harvesting. We're gonna clip all the plants off at the roots, and for winter, along both sides of these drip lines, we're gonna plant garlic. I'll do 1 row, 2 rows, 1 on each drip line, 2 rows of hard neck garlic, 2 rows of soft neck garlic, and that'll be put to bed for the winter. Now think about what we got out of this bed. I'll just put these back so you can see the planting plan a little bit better. Come on, garlic. We've got heads of sunflowers for the bees and lots of pollinators going on. Pole beans, I've been getting bowls and bowls, and I was actually just out here now. Even though it's been so long, I'm still able to get pole beans on a regular basis whenever I want to come out and get pole beans, and they're amazing. These are the Kentucky Wonder, and we've saved seeds from them. The potatoes, because I grew different varieties of tomatoes. We've got so many, all different sizes. We've had these beautiful indigo purple ones. There's lots of mid-sized ones like this that have been fantastic. And then these ones that are ripening up my counter that are a little bit larger, but all different sizes, all different flavors and shapes and colors. And by the bowl, like just giving them away. I had friends over yesterday, they were visiting for dinner and we were picking all this food, and one of them asked me, like, what do you do with all this food? You must be selling it all. I said, no, every day when people come and visit our place, I give them a bag of food to take away. Here's some more tomatoes for you. It's just incredible. We've had peppers even up until today, and that little cucumber plant that we built the little ladder for it to trellis up, it produced, I think we had figured, over 30 long English cucumbers. So that bed, bowls and bowls and bowls of all sorts of varied food. Incredible. I didn't pull one weed out of that bed because between all the rows of plants, cardboard and coffee sacks went down. I'm just going to take you around the back of the bed just so you can see what I'm talking about. There's no weeds. And then we'll go on to this bed down here, okay? So let's just take a look at the ground protection, okay? So this spot right here is in the back corner of the bed. This is the little ladder where I had the long English cucumber growing. And the day that I harvested this plant, I just put down more coffee sacks. I'll just pull these up. And look, there's the stalk from the, can you see the stalk from the cucumber here? And here's the cardboard that we put down right at the very start of the season. So there's the cardboard, and you can see it's totally intact. There's actually an earthworm coming out of it because earthworms love to live in cardboard. And so totally intact cardboard, no weeds at all. The moisture is beautiful. Oh, look at, there's just worms and worms in here. 4 worms came up in my hand just in that little grab. And so incredible. But we also had a problem in the garden, and look at, there's one of them as well. That is a tiny little wireworm, and that's why we couldn't grow lettuce in the garden, was those little wireworms. So that was our problem as well. But let's cover the soil, keep out the weeds, retain the moisture, give love to all the little guys. Now this is at the opposite end of the same bed. I've just come around, and here's the cardboard that I put up at the start of the season. Again, when you take a look at what's here, right away there's earthworms. There's just earthworms and earthworms and earthworms up to the surface. And you know why they're at the surface? Because they're safe. The cardboard and the coffee sacks provides a safe shelter for them so that they know they can come right up to the surface and they can be creating all their worm castings and feasting on all the nutrients in the soil, and they're not in danger of being grabbed by a bird. So that's a very happy place. We find beans that have fallen that didn't get harvested, and you get in here and oh my goodness, you can see a tomato. A little bird was picking at it. There's another bird that was picking at a tomato there, but these are still in great shape, beautiful big tomatoes. And if you look just a little further in here and I clean things up a little bit for the camera viewfinder, you can see the cardboard's totally intact here. That's been down now for 112 days. The cardboard's still intact. If I grab it, I can rip it so it tears, but that's just a sheet of cardboard, and look at how well it's managed to keep all the weeds from coming up. No weeds when you have cardboard. It's amazing. Okay, let's go on to the next bed.